All right, guys, welcome back. I'm not sure if this is going to be a two-parter or a three-parter, but we are going to do a live reading. If you didn't know, I get a reading from Paige every month. I look forward to it every single month. I'm just like, she'll text me, it's uploading, and I'm like a kid in Christmas. Rich and I have made it like our ritual where we sit down and listen to it together, or we'll listen to it on the way home from work if it comes in, in the afternoon. I'll wait for him, and he is just like, babe, she's amazing. Like, this is amazing. And this month he was like, hey, have you gotten your reading from Paige yet?
You know what I really liked about it is one time I had said something about like yellow, and you were like, we just stayed in a yellow cabin like this weekend. And I just remember it was like all in your aura, all this yellow.
Yep.
And you were like, we were in a cabin, like just me and him, and it was yellow.
It's always, you never miss. You just did that with the snow leopard, and I have a huge picture of a snow leopard in my office, and I had just started like resonating with leopard for some reason. Like, it's in my Jeep. My Jeep is leopard themed, and I started like buying leopard print stuff, and I had just did a photo shoot in a leopard dress, and you were like, I just see like the snow leopard, and you pulled the card, and I was like, this is fucking bananas, dude.
You know what I love about the cards is like, I really like the cards because they feel like my inner child can connect with them, and it really is like motivating. But most of the time, like, I'll get the message and then the cards will confirm
Yes.
the message I already got, which I think is super important that people realize that like you can get the message with or without the cards. Like, you don't need tools to be a channel.
Yeah.
Like, you're already going to be channeling. Like, when you're in the car, I think most people can get messages mostly when they're in the car, because like your brain, it's almost meditative because you're driving and you know your life is at stake. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like you're locking into a new frequency of like, I got to pay attention. I've got to, I got to keep this shit on the road. So
Yeah.
I feel like most people can like connect with spirit in the car because of that.
That makes sense.
There's no laundry, there's no kids, there's no like nothing else could happen. We have to stay focused on the road.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the journey itself.
That's so strange that you just said that, because lately the car is like my therapy session. I will crank up the music and literally I call it my I-65 concerts. But lately I have just been so impressed to sit in silence. So, okay, this is amazing.
Love it.
So
So we'll say the blessing.
Yes.
And then I'll have you say your full name.
Okay.
Okay. Angels, ancestors, and spirit guides, thank you so much for bringing us together here in this sacred space and sacred moment. At this time, we call upon only the most enlightening energy, the most enlightened beings to connect with us. We ask for their divine guidance, clarity, and protection, and we open our hearts to their messages. Our circle is now open. Amen.
I love that you open with positivity and light. I just feel it everywhere.
Yes. Say your name.
Oh, Samantha McClellan.
People get lost in the blessing and they're like, what are we doing? Okay, so we're going to see what you need to know. So I'm going to pull some tarot. We've got the Eight of Wands and the King of Cups. And I feel like this is like the emotional connection with you and your partner is growing really strong behind the scenes. Like things that are happening behind the scenes that you two can't see yet. Like what the universe is prepping you for, or like the positions they're putting you in so that you both can evolve together and individually. And it feels like, the expansion is really in the unseen right now. It's not what you're working on physically or like what you see in your reality, but it's more of like that clairvoyance you mentioned earlier, of like the expansive vision. Like there is so much power in teams. And on the way here, I saw a sign and it said team up. And some people like underestimate the power of the home because we've been conditioned to be so like outwardly expressive, like work for someone else and not be present in your home. So I think like the gift is like you both working on your own business gives you space to like not have some boss or like some energy hanging over you all. So there's a lot happening behind the scenes. With the Ace of Cups, it really just feels like your cup is like overflowing. So it feels like there may be like like a charity project or a passion project or something that you do that's not really about money, it's more about the community space or involving other people, because other people are going to learn from the example that you two are like setting. And a lot of people, especially in the last like 50 years, the home has been super divided. And the unit of the home is not reflected right now in the consciousness. So I feel like the cup overflowing is about really seeing not only the blessings that you have, but the blessings that have yet to like manifest. And with the hermit, you all gotta keep those quiet. Like, be more selective about how you express those, who you tell about those until they're in concrete. Because I think that both of you get very excited, and because you don't lie, cheat, and steal, you assume other people wouldn't do that. Or you assume other people are not going to like manipulate the situation for their benefit, because that's not what you two would do. So it's like, to collaborate and to bounce ideas and to share your vision with people seems natural to you both. But actually right now it's more of like keeping that internal vision strong and keeping that, what I like to call like the spiritual gas tank, full, rather than proving to people you have gas.
Yes, that resonates so much. We literally just had a conversation about this.
Yeah,
You
like,
would never know. It was in private.
well, and the thing is like, deep down, the openness that you both have is going to bring you greater blessings than being closed off and like shut down. So it's like, they're not saying like bottle everything up and not share it, but they're saying like wait till it's rooted. Like, you don't want to tell people you have a fruit tree if you just planted it, because you're not getting fruit off that for like 7 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So many people, I think, jump the gun in this reality because they're excited, or they think like, well, I wouldn't do that to someone, so like they're not going to steal my idea, or they're not going to do those things to me. But at the end of the day, like, this reality is super competitive right now because people are struggling. So I feel like Spirit is saying like, your struggles are in the past because now you're building on that new foundation. Like, you both went through some trials and tribulations and it was trying to drive you two apart, but instead you came back stronger and more grounded, because the test was, are you going to let outside influences affect you?
Yeah.
Or are you going to ground into the team or the partnership that you have, you know? And then we've got the Ace of Swords. So the aces I always see is really lucky. Just like if you had 4 aces playing poker, you would win a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, so I always feel like aces are super lucky. And the swords are about your ideas. And that's like expanding on that. I feel like the ideas may come unexpectedly and may shift you in a direction that you don't see coming, which means that you have to be grounded on, like I said earlier, like safety, freedom, peace, happiness. Like, those things are the only thing I need. I don't care who is there when I get there. As long as we are safe, happy, and whole when we're there, I'm not worried about those details. Like, the universe will promote and remove people from my reality. You know, it's like, as long as you know what your team, your vision, like your grounded center is, then the rest is just noise. It doesn't matter how we get there, the dollar amount that it takes, as long as we get there. So it's more about affirming the long-term vision, not all the ups and downs that will come up in between.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The Knight of Swords and the Magician. So I feel like this sense of urgency that you both feel on your dreams needs to be rooted in surrender rather than control. Because you both may think we're moving forward rapidly and we're going to get all this done because we're in control. But truly, the Magician is about alchemizing the situation. Like, Friday at 3 may be better energy than Tuesday at 8 a.m., but you're trying to get it done on Tuesday at 8 a.m. because you want to get it done.
Yeah.
But now it's taking you longer and more time to do that. Yeah. When instead you should just do it Friday at 3 and then it takes an hour and a half rather than 4 hours on Tuesday.
Yes.
Or whatever it may be. So I really feel like the sense of urgency that you both feel needs to be channeled into a more rooted, centered, grounded vision, not all up in the air. Like, you're both going to have to pull that vision down here to earth and see that, yes, there's steps. Yes, there's obstacles. Yes, there's going to be illusions or people that come into play that you have to overcome something with them to move forward. It's kind of just like a video game. I see life as like a video game. And some people are focused on vitality. Some people are focused on points, or money. Some people are focused on like weapons, or you know what I mean? Like there's different focuses in a game. And I think that you all have like secured such a strong like team or like a vibration that it's really not about doing more. It's about doing less, but utilizing the energy more. Like whenever I started to transition from like being open on my website and deciding that I wanted to take a step back, I knew that I wanted to ground in on my monthly clients because like you all are here every month and like it's easy for me to tap in with someone if I have built a relationship with them rather than needing to like restart every single day on FaceTime with a stranger. And so like I think that the quantity and the quality needs to shift in your mindset.
Yeah.
Like has to shift around whatever quality and quantity issues.
No, that makes
like
complete sense.
whatever little.
I swear, sometimes you give me messages that go straight to Rich. I'm like, she is speaking through me to you because we're so ingrained, so intertwined in each other. You could not even imagine how spot on this is.
I want you to pick one of the decks, whichever one that you.
Oh.
We could use more, but just pick. Okay, so she picked the numerology oracle deck. So that was tarot. Now we're going to move into oracle. So the difference is tarot has like a set archetype of like 78 cards. There's 4 suits, the wands, the cups, the pentacles, and the swords. And you are moving through that archetype. And it's the same. No matter who drew the deck or who made the deck, there's 78 cards, they're in 4 suits. That's just what they are. But with Oracle, they can literally be whatever people want them to be. They can have numbers, they can have quotes, they can have card colors. Like anything that you can imagine can be created in an Oracle deck. I have a few Oracle decks that I created. At the beginning of my journey, I channeled messages and created my own decks. And then I realized it is very expensive unless you want to manufacture like 1,000 of them. Yeah. So the price range and it was just out of touch with reality. Like I physically can't get enough quantity for it to make sense. But with Oracle, it's about expansion and utilizing the message for yourself. So I feel like anyone, even you or someone who's like on a spiritual journey can get an Oracle deck and channel the message. Versus like tarot, you kind of do got to learn the archetypes to channel the message and how they go together.
Yeah, and it's not easy.
It's not easy, but it's not hard. I mean, it's like riding a bike, like you either want it or you don't want to do it. Or like I always wanted to do a cartwheel as a kid and I just never could do one. I just still couldn't. And it was something about my head and neck going towards the ground that I just couldn't get behind. I just couldn't get behind that I could get paralyzed from this activity.
Yeah.
And I just never did it. But like a part of me, at this ripe age of 32, I'm like, damn, I wish I could do a cartwheel. So it's like tarot's the same thing. Like it's like it seems scary at first, but it's like, do you want to learn that?
Yeah.
Okay, do you have a question?
I do. We have a lot of things up in the air this year, like you were talking about up here.
Yeah.
And to pull it down. I just want to know if we're on the right track doing this. Like the plans that we have.
So we've got synchronicity number 87 and happy ending number 93. So I would say yes. I would say that following the breadcrumbs, the synchronicities, the signs, that's going to be the most important thing. And that's like I said earlier, you're big on efficiency and so is he. And that is limiting you both.
Okay.
Working like a machine of this system, being efficient, means you're doing things when the energy is not right.
Yeah.
Which means the results are not reflecting alignment.
Okay.
They're reflecting maybe some struggle, strife, obstacles in between. Like maybe you do get to the destination.
Yeah.
But instead of taking like the one-way hour-and-a-half flight, you drove 12 hours.
Yeah. And it's not enjoyable anymore.
No. And it's going to get and result in burnout.
Yes.
Or even negativity. Or even just being drained from the vision.
Okay. So allow the synchronicities to happen and then...
And then we got spiritual partnership. So I think that you two are evolving to utilize your energy together differently this year. So I think it's like less of like what results are happening in the physical and more of like the results happening in the spiritual or happening behind the scenes. And, you know, your beliefs are different, but the evolution of your connection transcends limiting beliefs, you know? So I think that sometimes we are like matched up with people who are not uniformly going to believe what we believe or going to be exactly where we're at. And I think that we're here kind of like leading one another in a sense. Like sometimes we're leading and sometimes we're following and vice versa. So I feel like Spirit is saying like really lean on the spiritual aspects of your relationship, the the fated part of your connection, like the evolution of your love and your story is part of your fate. Like that is part of your destiny in a way. Like it's fated that you met, had children, things like that, like got married, whatever it may be. But like the destiny is like, how do we utilize this together? How do we take what we're building and evolve into something more that we can't see? Physically. So I think it's more of like what's happening behind the scenes once again. And then we've got health. So I feel like once again, both of you put a lot of pressure on yourself, which affects your mental health and your vitality overall. Because a constant need for more and not soaking in now is your problem directly. And I think also a lot of what he sees as like being a provider and doing these things means like constant go.
Yeah, it's that foundation. I strive for that foundation, like, and it's never enough of a foundation. I need that constant proof in the physical realm that like I'm providing what I didn't have, and so being able to pause, take a breath, and enjoy it makes me panic. And so that's something that I've been dead set to focus on more this year. That's such confirmation, and almost like see, like from Spirit, like see.
Like you already knew the answer. Yeah. Sometimes like you need that other person to like tell you like, hey, this is the answer.
It's
kind of
so
like
true.
if I reach out to someone like, hey, can you help me with this? Within 5 minutes, I figure it out. Like
Yeah.
within 5 minutes, I have figured it out. So it's like the intimidation, like we are intimidating ourselves because we like our comfort zone.
Yeah.
So anything that's going to like deviate from our content place
Yeah.
is challenging us. And I think Spirit is wanting you both to stop and see how alignment creates more.
It's scary when you're stepping out of how you've always functioned into kind of a gray or unknown area of like trusting and allowing.
Well, that's exactly what I'm going through right now. Like taking all my services from my website and like revamping how I'm going to offer services and having less one-on-one like video chat and more pre-recorded because you can listen to it on your own time and I don't have to be available and like be at someone's beck and call and now they're 5 minutes late and now they want to talk 10 minutes over and you know those things. So I also am like evolving on how I show up in the world. So I think that overall there's definitely a lot of shift for people in the collective because Jim and I, my co-host on Look It Like a Lollipop, she's also decided that she no longer wants to create on TikTok. She no longer cares about leading some public life and sharing every detail because she's someone that like was cooking and talking and cleaning and talking and doing all the things. You know, she was constantly feeling like she needed to be on.
Yeah.
And she just was talking about how like she got the followers and she got the notoriety and now she sees that that was lacking in her personal life and now she's grounding into her personal life. You know what I mean? And taking away from the public life. And I think sometimes like we think we want something like, oh, I think I need 150,000 followers or I think I need $150,000 or I need someone to pay me $200 for a reading and then they do. And then you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
I got to do this still. I still got to do all that. Look, I mean, it was never about the money. Like I was making amazing money, but taking my services down 2 weeks ago has been such like an identity crisis of like, what am I doing? If I'm not serving and helping people, what am I doing? And then Spirit's like, how about focus on yourself? How about, remember that time where you didn't have to do anything for anyone and you could just detach and like get into your own power? So I I think a lot of what's happening in the collective is like prioritizing our health, our vitality, our wellness. And it really feels like you both have to shift from working for the machine and like utilizing the machine you've already built. Like, we don't need to keep adding to the machine. Like, so many people think like, just when I get that nice house, or just when I get that job, or just when I do these things, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
And then you get all that shit, and now you feel guilty and selfish because you're not happy.
Yeah.
And that's what happens with a lot of people, like with marriage or kids. They do all that shit for the wrong reason, and then they're like, dang, I shouldn't have jumped so quickly. Pick one more deck.
I am drawn to this for some reason.
So we got the Moonology Oracle. I really like this deck as a beginner deck because there's artwork, there's zodiac signs, and there's messages. So I feel like it really resonates with people that are maybe just exposed to their own astrology sign or like their own sun sign, that you can be like, that's my sun sign, you know, like you can connect. Okay. We're going to just see what your spirit guides want you to know. Don't let your past hold you back. Once again, it's that more mentality, because that is draining you. I try to set and surrender and rest and gratitude to the point where it feels lazy. Like, I try to set in those to where I feel lazy, because I know that receiving is my natural state, and I didn't come here to suffer. I didn't come here to work at all. I didn't come here to work. Like, I will not use the term working hard. I'll be committed. I'll be faithful. I'll be, I'll hold a standard of quality, but I will not work hard.
I fucking love that so much.
That's done. Like,
I don't
those
work
programs
hard.
are
I'm
done.
committed.
Yeah, those are done. Like, because working hard to most people is like breaking your back every day until you die. I will not do that. If I'm still working past 52, I will be shocked. I'm not doing any of that. And my dad just retired at 56, so I know it's possible.
It's absolutely doable.
Yeah, like, I'm not living for the machine anymore. And I think that's what Spirit is saying. Like, you are living for the machine. You're more. How can you do more? When Spirit wants you to do less, take time to breathe out. Do less. Say less. The answers you need are coming. Have faith in your dreams. So they're not saying that you won't, like, do more. They're just saying the way you're going to do it is different. It's kind of like you can push mow a yard, or you can get a four-way turner mower.
Yeah.
You know, like, the task is getting done. The efficiency is different.
Yep.
And there's not as much struggle and stress and strife as someone who's like, I got to get out here and push mow this grass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, someone else who's like, I got to cut the grass. They probably are on a zero-turn mower and not as much labor and whatever.
Your payoff isn't directly related to how hard you work.
But a limiting belief person would say, this push mower is $400 and that's $4,000.
Right.
Not seeing that their time and energy is money.
Yeah.
That's what people don't understand. If you start weighing things out, like, this $200 necklace is how many hours of my time? Mm-hmm. If you started measuring things instead of like calories or numbers or dollars and did it as energy, like, that shifts a lot.
Absolutely.
And I think what Spirit is saying is, like, you've been playing the game, and just because you're good at it doesn't mean you got to keep playing it.
Yeah.
Like, no one is holding you hostage to the rules, but you've created these rules that you think you have to play by. Step out of your comfort zone. Prosperity lies ahead. Like I said, there's really not anything they're saying couldn't happen. They're just saying that they're not going to let you drain yourself for the material world.
Yeah.
Like, they'll take it away before they let you do that. So if you don't want them to take anything away, it means you got to soak in what you have.
Yeah.
And not that you're not appreciative. They're saying you're not enjoying moment to moment activities because your mind is elsewhere.
Always worried about the future.
What more can be done.
Yeah.
And then we have, nothing will come of this situation. So like I said, like, most of the things you stress about wouldn't even come to fruition at all. But your mind is feeding that, and your clairvoyance is almost even aligning with those limitations. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of what we're aligned with is based on the belief system that is held deeply in our subconscious. So like I said earlier, like I was willing to like settle for a trailer because everyone I know lives in trailers or like grew up in trailers. I mean, not necessarily now, but it's just the dynamic of what we can see is what keeps us stuck. It's
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
motivation of what I can't see, like the places that I haven't been, the people I haven't met, the food that I haven't tasted, or the music I haven't heard. That's what keeps me going. Like knowing that there is a song in the future that will be my favorite song that I can play 100 times in one day motivates me.
I
Like
love it.
rather than they don't make good music anymore. They don't do this anymore. Whatever the fuck people say. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I just don't consent to those realities because those keep me miserable, sick, sad, and tired. I want to do things when they're in alignment with me because the propelling of energy is going to propel me forward. Like, moving with the energy rather than against it is what Spirit is saying. And then we've
I
got
love that.
a time to give rather than take. I feel like that's like giving back to yourself rather than taking, like every time on the Monopoly board we hit the free parking, you take the money, like there's a consequence. You had to go all the way around the circle to do that.
Yeah.
And people are anticipating like getting the free parking, like worrying about it instead of just letting it freely come to you.
Yeah.
Like you're chasing it. You're chasing things and rather than receiving things.
Got it.
And then those programs tell you like, "Oh, you're lazy. Oh, you suck. You're not
Yes.
going to get anywhere. How
Yeah.
could you build a business with this motivation?"
Right.
Those are like that's the programs of this place and the fact that you don't have a boss telling you that, you have a being inside of you telling you that.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, we create our own demons. Like I know in a past life that I lived in lack and scarcity so that now I can enjoy abundance and prosperity. Like I've lived in those. That's why my soul, like up until like a year or two ago, I just believed at any given time I could be evicted, but I own my own house. Like, or that I could just, my shit could get repoed, but it's paid for. Like weird feelings from my childhood because
Yeah.
I saw things like that. I saw our house get foreclosed on. I saw our cars get repoed or our
Same,
furniture
sister.
or whatever. So
Yes.
that limiting belief tried to like take root and like choke me out, and like keep me stuck. But
Yeah.
now I have like an obsession of like paying things off. Just because you can finance it doesn't mean you should. Just because you can buy it doesn't mean you need it. Just because I have the available credit doesn't mean I'm going to go get it. Like shifting from these systems control me to I control these systems is like a huge game changer.
Yeah.
And this says a new romantic cycle begins. And I feel like that's going to open up new doors for you all to like appreciate one another and to soak in the moments with one another rather than feeling like every moment needs to be productive in some way or planned, Miss Calendar. Like figure out where we're not planning anything and don't do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think that's important for you is like blocking out more rest, blocking out more relaxation, more enjoyment time because Spirit keeps telling me like you didn't just come here to like gather resources and hoard them. Like you came here to enjoy your resources
Yeah.
and to like utilize whatever abundance is given to you, not to like hold on to it so tightly that you're afraid you're going to like lose it or you won't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Like if I don't keep generating it, like that is like what I'm learning now with my website. The moment I took my services down, over 5 different like high profile clients contacted me within that week. Hey, I need a reading. Hey, I need a reading. Hey, could you do this? Hey, could you do that? Like it was like Spirit just filled up my schedule with people I really was wanting to work with or I was drawn to work with or they were seeking me out because now I had the energetic capacity to let them in rather than feeling like, oh, I have a million other things going.
This is so hitting home. Oh my God.
And
You would never know unless you were a fly on the wall listening to our conversations.
I like hovered in. I like remote viewed the crib. No.
Spirits over here going.
A win-win outcome is in the forecast. And last but not least, a personal issue reaches resolution. So I feel like you need to celebrate like the progress that's already taken place. There's already been major strides, but you don't celebrate those. Like you're only celebrating like big public wins or like when you feel like it is a public, like a something to share with the public, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like Spirit is like, getting up and putting on makeup and like cleaning the house, any of those things. Like, all of those are accomplishments. I mean, we can observe when people let their shit go, like the house or the yard or themselves.
Yeah.
But we don't celebrate those little things that we get up and do for ourselves, or those things that we do to make our house a home or whatever. So I like to encourage, like, my clients, like, if I take the trash out, I'm that bitch. If I clean my car, you can't stop me. You will not be able to stop me. Like, if I go, the other day I went to Costco and I got all, like, dry goods that I needed, and you couldn't have told me anything. Like, I am like, thank you so much, Spirit, for providing these things. I literally came home and pulled the last Kleenex out of the box. But I just bought Kleenexes, so it was, like, so aligned that, like, I needed to go do that. Like, for example, a lot of people don't listen to Spirit, but, like, Spirit will try to prep you for things. Like, right before COVID happened, like, maybe in January, I decided to go to Sam's and, like, buy everything I needed for, like, 6 months.
Wow.
And then, like, a month and a half later, there was, like, a toilet paper shortage. And I had literally enough toilet paper for, like, a year at that point.
Wow.
But Spirit told me. But most people are like, I'm not going to go spend $500 on toilet paper and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, just to stock up my house for me, no food is, like, $250. I did double that.
Yeah.
And there was no rhyme or reason at the time of why I was doing that. But it was just like, it doesn't expire. I'm going to use it. Just do it. Yeah. And then there was, like, a shortage. I didn't even have to leave my house because I had so much, like, water and I had everything. So Spirit, like, prepped me for that previous to, like, the big reveal of the next program for everyone. I already, like, had pre-installed new data coming in, like, get prepared. Don't live in fear. Get what you need. Get a little extra.
Yeah.
Versus the people who, like, don't ever take into consideration the future needs.
Yeah.
That was a bird. I just watched it, and then it
There it is.
hit the window. The bird just hit the window because sometimes people can see the answer, and they don't want to see it.
Oh my gosh.
That's a sign.
Okay.
This is the answer.
Listen,
you see it.
feathers are a spiritual sign for me, and that's like all the feathers.
That bird was alive.
Yeah.
That bird came right in. So I feel like at the end of the day, you know the answers, but sometimes you gaslight yourself into, like, not following those answers.
Yeah.
And then also, like, I think, like, thinking about the future too much limits us because what we're meant to focus on is the present. Like, they want us to prepare and, like, have things set in motion. But if your garden is, like, primed, prepped, and watered, that's in the now. You're not watering your garden in the future to eat in the future. You're watering it now to eat in the future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's literally like everything that we miss is hidden in the present. It's not in the future and it's not in the past, but so many people, like, that's the only realms they focus on. Mm-hmm. But they're all different realms. Like, someone once explained to me, like, it's not past lives, they're all coexisting at once.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still in Egypt. Like, I am ethereal. So I'm still in Egypt. I'm still here. I'm still an Indian girl. Like, I'm still all these things.
Yeah.
Even though I'm here with you right now.
Yeah.
But all of those beings and all of those versions of me actually still exist. Which is why, like, scarcity mindset or fear or limiting, like, if you've lived through a war or you lived through famine or you lived through scarcity, that's embedded into you. Yeah. And so many people are operating with those programs because their soul is trapped by them.
Yes. Makes so much sense. Paige, you are such a beautiful gift to this world. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh.
It's been so good.
So why don't you tell everyone where, like, they can find you? You talked about your podcast. You have a website.
Yeah, so I have a podcast, Lick It Like a Lollipop podcast. We're on all platforms. You can find us at lollipoppodcast.com. And then my business is contrarycherryco.com. If you just Google Contrary Cherry, it'll come up. And then my website will link you to my TikTok, my Instagram, and all of my other platforms, Facebook, whatever. So basically, lollipoppodcast.com or contrarycherryco.com. Thank you for having me.
100%. And let me tell you, you could not charge enough for the amount of blessings that you give people.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying to, like, bridge the gap between, like, compensation and energetic exchange because I'm, like, a speed reader and I channel very rapidly.
Yeah.
And I just feel like what I could offer in 20 minutes may take someone else an hour and a half or more.
It's true.
So it's like, why am I trying to beef up a session? Like, I don't need to do all that. Like, I need to trim the fat. That's what I'm doing. I'm trimming the fat so that I can figure out what aligns for me and so that I can teach people these concepts in a more grounded fashion so that they can really use them for future benefit.
And let me also reiterate that a little more. Like, let me confirm that. Someone like me, I can't sit for an hour and a half. I will check out. I'll have to literally break it up into sessions listening to it. So the way that you feed information aligns so well with people like me who, like, I get the concept quickly and then give me the next one. Like, let's move to the next one. You know?
Yeah,
It's
and that's
so
where I
spot
feel
on.
like in the past, I felt like I wasn't proving myself to other people. I was proving myself to myself. Like, it was more trying to figure myself out. And I like to call that the spiritual gas tank. Like, I was trying to fill up my gas tank. And then once it got filled, I met Bunny. And then Bunny, like, overfilled it. And then it just stayed overfilled ever since. And then I've just been like, I can do it. I can do more. I can do more. I can do more. And instead, Spirit's like, actually, no, we don't want you to do more. Even though it's available, my test is now saying, I know you want to give me your money, but I can't take it right now. I don't have the energy for you. And I want you to get what you're paying for. And I want you to, like, you know, take this experience with you. But, you know, when my new structure comes out, I think it'll just be a lot more cohesive, like you said, for the fact that I can get so much information out in a 20, 30-minute session. And I don't need an hour, hour and a half anymore. I never needed it. I just felt like I needed to keep telling people everything so that they would come back. But now I see that that was people pleasing and scarcity mindset of thinking I needed to prove myself to anyone.
Yeah.
So
I love it. Okay. Well, guys,
Thank
go
you.
look her up, check her out. If at the very least, send her a loving message and positive vibes, and we will see you next time.
bye.